Hey friends, let's chat about the astrology from August 25th to September 10th. So we're going to go from this full moon in Pisces, which is an eclipse, to the new moon in Virgo. So the Pisces full moon is on Friday the 28th for some of us and on Thursday the 27th for some other people. It's exact at 12:19 a.m. on Friday the 28th Eastern Standard Time, so adjust for your time. But as you know, I like to back up a day or two so we can figure out what the vibe is going into the moon phase, and then we'll go in to the next moon phase. TikTok and YouTube get the full video. I do think it looks better on TikTok because I can put the chart up and you can see what I'm talking about. If you're seeing this on Instagram, you're going to have to come join me on another platform because Reels will not give me more than a few minutes, and we need more time than that. We're going to talk about 2 weeks of astrology here. Oh, and if you're seeing me for the first time, I'm Sammy. This is Infinity Aura App, where I chat to you about astrology, and I also curate a little shop of cool stuff for your aura, from clean skincare to manifestation candles and manifestation oils. You can check it out on infinityauraapp.com. And if this is not your first time seeing me, welcome back. Let's get to it. I got my notes here, I got the chart there. So if you see me looking down or whatever, that's what's going on here. So we're going to start with August 25th. Mercury moves into Virgo. Thinking shifts from fun and entertainment in Leo to a more organized and intentional mindset. This is the time of year when we start looking at what we're responsible for and reorganizing our lives to get into a new routine. Some people are getting the kids ready to go back to school. Sometimes you have a different summer schedule. So, around this time, when the sun moves into Virgo, we start to kind of look ahead, not necessarily get into those routines, especially because Mars is still in Cancer. This is kind of slow moving energy as far as getting things done and motivation. Mars in Cancer is motivated by what's going to make it comfortable, how it feels, and what's necessary. So while Mercury is in Virgo, the sun's in Virgo now at this point too. But while Mercury is in Virgo, you might be thinking of all the new things you want to do. Motivation lies in doing the things that you need to do to cultivate the comfort for that first. So, for example, if you need a better routine and you're not going to find much motivation, like I said, in actually starting the routine, but instead of making yourself comfortable to get that routine down. For example, if you got kids going back to school, you're school shopping or kind of winding them down for the sleep schedule at this time. So it's not really like the actual new plan that's in your head is not really getting done, but you are motivated to clear the space and make it comfortable for when that new routine is ushered in later. And because the sun is in Virgo, there's also like a microscope on the day to day activities. We had a lot of energy in Leo before, which is about doing the fun and entertaining thing and just shining your light. And now in Virgo, it's a little bit more serious. On the 25th, Venus is in Libra. Venus is about halfway through this transit, so she's been in Libra for quite some time. This is a focus on connecting to people and how you connect with them. Examine them in the light of fairness, balance, and boundaries. And we're going to look at that a little bit as we go into some other transits. So that's what we're starting off on the 25th. And I want to get right into the full moon. As I said, this full moon happens in the middle of the night. So it's exact on Thursday night for some of you, and early Friday morning, 12:19, which is still kind of Thursday night on the East Coast. But anyway, you want to pay attention to what people are saying, not what they're doing, and use your intuition to move forward accordingly. This is an eclipse, so this is a little bit more intense than your regular full moon. There's like a balance here between like I know what I want and how it has to look, but there's a sense of like with Virgo, there's a sense of control, and a little bit of that control has to be let go because we're moving through intuition at this point with the full moon in Pisces. Dreams are very, very, very important at this time. Pay attention to your dreams. I used to do a lot of dream journaling. I don't anymore, not as much as I sometimes I get into it. I get into these phases where like I'll dream journal for a while, and then also like sometimes my dreams are a little bit more vivid than other times in my life. But the more I journal them, the more I will get to know them. I don't know if you guys have ever tried dream journaling, but heavily recommend. So literally just what I said. You wake up from a dream. It's really hard to wake up and try to write your dreams down, but if you can, Sometimes I look back on the on my old dreams and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember that," like through the old dream journal. Anyway, if you can wake up, write it down right when you wake up. And if it's in the middle of the night, go back to sleep after, read it in the morning, whatever. This is because you lose a lot of information like, once you start doing things, if you wait too long to try to write it down, it's gotta be super, super fresh. And the more you work with that, the more you do that, the more you'll remember your dreams, and then you can get into lucid dreaming, which is also kinda cool, but we could talk about that on another video. Let's get back to the astrology. You guys know how I get. Anyway, so for this full moon, we have the south node in Leo with the sun in Virgo, with Mercury in Virgo, and then opposite on the chart, the north node in Aquarius, um, with the moon in Pisces. Hold on, I gotta change this chart. I'm still looking at the 25th here. So because the sun is with the south node and Mercury, there's this like knowing of where you've come from and what you've been doing. Like there's a knowing and understanding of that. And there's this battle between that energy and the energy of what you intuitively feel you need to do to enact the change that you know you need. And because it's this back and forth pull, there has to be some kind of balance there, right? You have to find the balance between what you do know and the details of what you do know, because we're talking about Virgo, and kind of letting go of control of that so that you can work intuitively without losing where you've come from, because there is this sense of like I have to put my ducks in a row this way because of what I've been through. But a lot of the times somebody once said to me that you have to go through the south node to get to the north node, right? Because you always want to work towards the north node. You want to the south node stuff comes easy, and the north node is actually where you want to be. So, yes, you want to work with the moon and work intuitively, and that's very important, but it comes through an understanding of the south node of where you've come from and what you do know needs to be done next. Because Virgo is Mercury is in Virgo. So there's this understanding of like, okay, I do understand what the routine has to be, what I have to do next, and what how my ducks have to be lined up. But there is a piece of you that has to let control of it has to be exactly like that and also move through it intuitively. At the time of this moon, there is a square with Uranus, but I'm gonna talk to you guys. It's exact on the next day, Friday. So we're gonna talk about it like it's happening exclusively on Friday. But I tell you guys when I talk to you about these transits, they don't just appear out of nowhere. You're feeling this energy before, so you're gonna feel this a little bit with the new moon. I mean, the full moon when we're talking about Friday, which is technically the same day for some of us. So let's just get into it. So Friday, August 28th, the sun is square Uranus and Mercury is also square Uranus. This just looks like a lot of interruption, plot twists, revelations. Sometimes it's just messages that you don't expect or rapid changes in this this idea or this plan that you have moving forward, because it's also square with Mercury. Sometimes it's something somebody says or something that you say to somebody that just rubs each other the wrong way. Sometimes this is like also background noise because it is such a quick transit that you don't even really notice it. So just kind of pay attention, like these little disruptions that are going on that are also kind of messing with your energy that you're trying to focus for this full moon. On the other side, this is good energy for mixing things up and trying new ideas, considering other perspectives and options. The next day I want to look at is Monday, the 31st. We have Jupiter in Leo is trine Saturn retrograde in Aries. This is a good balance between work and play. Saturn's reviewing what the building blocks of the Aries rule chart of your life have to be. And it's serious work, but the Leo ruled part of your chart can show you how to make it fun. This is kind of like a realization that the changes you have to make are rooted in the things that you enjoy. And even though it's difficult and challenging, you can still enjoy it. So then Tuesday, September 1st, Mercury in Virgo and the Sun are sextile Mars in Cancer, and Mars in Cancer is square Saturn in Aries. Be careful with what your thoughts or what someone else says to you and makes you like how it triggers a thought, enacts you emotionally, right? Because we're looking at Mars in Cancer, which is motivated by emotion. So you just want to keep that in mind. Acting emotionally to whatever you may think, see, or hear today is not really in your favor in the long run, and it's very easy to be triggered into action. That's actually exactly what I wrote down. The only other thing I want to look at between then and the 10th, which is the 10th is the full moon, new moon in Virgo. I usually don't do a lot of moon transits here, but there is a moon conjunct Mars in Cancer on the 7th. So September 7th, the moon and Mars are together. I always kind of look at that because that's also another day where emotionally you can be triggered into acting and it might not really go so well for you. So the rest of the week, you just kind of playing off of that energy. There's not a lot of big new transits going on until the 10th for the new moon in Virgo when we take all the information we've gathered and start to create a solid plan. So like I said, these next couple weeks are not necessarily about actually getting the thing done that your mind is focused on. It's more about preparing yourself, putting yourself in a space and the things around you, putting the things around you in a space to be ready for you when it's time to start working on that plan. And we get closer to that with the new moon in Virgo on September 10th. And that's when I will see you next time so we can talk about what the vibe is. For more insight on the full moon, you want to look at the area in your chart that is ruled by Pisces and Virgo. If you want a personal reading, you can book me on infinityauraav.com. Check out the shop if you're manifesting. There's candles and oils. And I also use the same natural oils to make some skincare products. I hope all of that made sense. Let me know in the comments, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.